What's something simple that can actually kill someone accidentally that isn't common knowledge? A grape. My wife had a friendly coworker whose young daughter choked to death in front of her and her mother. They tried to dislodge the grape and nothing worked. By the time an ambulance got there, the girl was brain dead. It's about the worst thing I can imagine as a parent. We were cutting our kids' grapes in half until they were 10 after that happening. When I was 2, I was at a family party and grabbed a whole grape out of the fruit salad and choked. My Aunt Nancy was 10 natty lights deep and performed the Heimlich maneuver and saved my life. She passed away earlier this year. Rip Aunt Nancy. Pour one out for Aunt Nancy. The drunk aunt saving a toddler's life reminds me of the time my college roommate went to a family reunion, had too much to drink, threw up in the pool, because somehow she thought it was better than throwing up on the grass, noticed a dark murky figure at the bottom of the pool, dove in and saved her 18-month-old cousin's life. No one had noticed the baby had fallen in the pool. She went from pariah to hero in the span of 20 seconds. A dental infection. I went to grief support meetings, and a woman there lost her son to an impacted tooth that spread infection to his brain. This is why seeing those veneer techs pop up drives me insane. Some of them are putting veneers or crowns over decay, not knowing, or not caring, that it will probably create an abscess or infection. It is so dangerous. Hitting your head. Art TBI is full of stories about simple slips and falls that resulted in death, at least temporarily, and lasting effects. I simply fell on ice at work. Bam! Unconscious, woke up saying I was okay. Got talked into getting in an ambulance. Started dying in the ambulance from a severe brain bleed. Coma, expected to die, survived. Lost most of my memory, emotional stability, the ability to easily make new memories, a ton of IQ. Still, in all, I'm not dead. Ed, so many stories. So much loss. So sorry for all your losses. And carry the information to others. I'm so happy that protocols for brain injuries have improved so much. If you hit your head and lose consciousness, get to a hospital stat. Be careful. And wear a damn helmet. Your life is important. Cheerleading. I had an accident and almost died because one of my teammates lost balance while I was on top, and that caused a fall. That fall broke my neck and I haven't been able to walk or move most of my body ever again. I cheered and then coached All-Star and high school. People outside of that sport have no idea how dangerous it can be. I have seen some insane injuries. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Playing in a deep hole at the beach. I had a friend who as a student had a holiday job in construction. One day, he was digging a trench which collapsed on him and he was dug out by his crew. It was about midday, but they all knocked off for the day and went to the pub where they all got drunk, which he though was great as they were buying. When he asked if it was some sort of tradition, they explained that usually the person caught in the trench didn't survive. Shit, that's quite heavy. Lucky lad getting out. People don't realize that a lot of people who die in house fires die in their sleep. The fire is too small to wake them from the heat alone, or it's farther away, yet it is releasing carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide along with a ton of other toxic fumes into the air. You are just sleeping breathing in that gas, which makes you even more tired and eventually completely unconscious, then dead. TBF, I'd rather die like that in a house fire than wide awake and screaming. What's that old joke? If I die I want to go out like my grandfather. Peacefully in his sleep. Not screaming and yelling like his passengers. Being shoved. Seen too many videos of fights, scuffles where someone is shoved or punched, and the trip on concrete and suffer fatal TBIs hitting their head on concrete. The brain is fragile. Protect it. Rags covered in linseed oil can spontaneously combust when left in a pile. I randomly discovered this fact in a Reddit post titled, "The New Guy Burned Down Our Workshop." A carpenter I know confirmed that this is a real thing. I've been getting into refinishing old furniture, so I'm glad I learned this now. You'd think it'd be more common knowledge. My wife started getting into wood staining for her crafts. When she went out to get the finishing oils, I told her to also pick up a proper means of disposing for this very reason. When she asked the person assisting her at Home Depot if they had a recommendation for a container to use for disposal, he told her that was an old wives' tale and then went on to explain that he had thousands of hours of experience staining and had never seen such a thing. Massively infuriating. Curious how much damage this one person's stupidity has caused. Ladders. People think you have to fall far to get hurt or die. 8 feet is plenty. I was always told falling your own height can kill you. Getting drunk, going to sleep, and choking on your own vomit. Always lay your drunk friends on their side and lift their chin to open their airway. Do not lay them on their backs. Friend died aged 32. Flowing water inches deep can still have the strength to sweep you away if you're not careful. Pressure washers are quite lethal. Can confirm, pressure washers are dangerous. My one stripped a layer of my sandal sole off when I accidentally blasted my foot with it and it stung for about a day. It's not a super duper ultra powerful pressure washer either. To add to this, thread wearing sandals while pressure washing is unsafe. A high pressure puncture wound, a high pressure injections. mercmanuals.com/en-ca/special-subjects/home/special-home/medicine/high-pressure-injection-injuries. Imagine you're wearing all your PPE, got your goggles, your gloves, etc. And you're working with high-pressure liquids. I'm not talking cutting steel with water jets, just something with high enough pressure that can pierce or puncture the skin. And bang, you get a little stab from a pressurized fluid source. Not even bleeding that much, if at all. Sometimes it's just a little sting, but you go to medical and get the assistance, and after a day, your hand is sore, but otherwise fine. If you obtain one of these injuries and don't alert the medical staff, you typically lose the limb. It can be just as bad with water steam as with chemicals. This was a safety moment at my company due to a mechanic getting a pinprick while changing a line. While he went for medical help, he didn't tell them it was a high-pressure wound. As such, he progressively lost 3 fingers on his hand because the substances were blasted into muscle tissues and caused necrosis, slowly. I made garlic-infused olive oil once. Left it out because that's how I always saw it on people counters. Used it a few weeks later. Botulism. Was out for 4 whole days writhing in pain with nothing left to expel. Turns out, I could have died. Allergies. A guy at work didn't believe a coworker had a deadly peanut allergy and had to try it out. The victim had luck that the medical center in our company has a doctor and medicine. Reading this post for anxious people. Confined spaces. If it only has one way in and out, especially if it is below ground, there is a very real possibility that there isn't enough oxygen in there to support life. Even something as simple as rusting metal can remove the oxygen from the air, and if there isn't airflow going through the space, the oxygen-depleted air won't be replaced. Other processes can remove oxygen or produce actively toxic gases. This sort of thing often kills more than one person, as the first person to find the victim goes in to rescue them and becomes the second victim. Slipping down the stairs. Yes, some people know stairs can be dangerous. But many don't realize how deadly residential stairs can be. Party buses. My wife's cousin was on one a couple of years ago. They were all dancing on the bus while it was driving on the 101 freeway in LA, and she slipped and fell against the door. The door gave way and she fell out of the bus at freeway speeds and was immediately run over by a car. There wasn't much left of her, closed casket for sure. She was celebrating her 30th birthday, but instead she died and left behind 5 kids, all under 10. Tylenol, the dangerous dosage is only about 4 times the therapeutic dosage. 2 pills helps with the pain, 8 seriously hurts you. If potatoes are not stored properly and becomes rotten, it produces a toxic gas and can make a person unconscious if they've inhaled enough, and or even death in some cases. There was a news article back in 2013 of an entire family in Russia that was killed by it. Garage door springs. Sleep apnea. Mixing bleach and ammonia when you clean Provence's toxic gas, that will make you really sick.